Welcome, everybody. This is the Rotary E-Club of Silicon Valley. Every week, we bring you stories of people who are improving their communities locally, globally, and we are excited to allow that inspiration to happen as a part of Rotary International. 1.2 million people around the world and 36,000 clubs looking to improve life for others. And along those lines, our speaker today is Marcy Stidum. And Marcy is at Kennesaw State University in Metro Georgia, or Metro Atlanta in Georgia. And she's going to tell us about the CARE program. So the CARE program is the Campus Awareness, Resource, and Empowerment Services mission. All right. The mission is to provide access to food, temporary housing, and other supportive services to foster students' realization of a healthy, stable, and dignified life academically and professionally, which sound awfully good to me. So Marcy, we are jazzed to have you with us. Thank you for your time, and the microphone is yours. Take it away.
Thank you. So just wanted to start off with, I've always liked to show pictures. So I would say every picture you see is our students that we serve, or students who help us serve. And this is from our recent Bridge Day. And so we're so excited. But we always try to remind the student that we always care about them. We have 4 programs in our department. 2 of them are what we call not student facing. So AmeriCorps Vista, that's a national program that basically, like Peace Corps, serves domestically. And we have about 35 AmeriCorps Vistas who serve all around the campus. But then we also have our Gear Up Georgia program, and that's a statewide program where we're in 15 different counties throughout the state of Georgia. And I will say Georgia has 156 counties, so some states don't have that many counties, but we have 156 counties, and we serve 15 of them, and it's focused on high schoolers who are homeless, experiencing homelessness, or in the foster care system. So we do those services in addition to what we do on campus with our students every day. So I want to highlight 2 of our key programs that are student-facing programs. So one is KSU Cares. This is our namesake program. So our flagship program started when I served my first student, Penelope, 10 years ago. And that's where we did some services in our case management area. That's where you sit down with the students and develop a plan. Then we also do campus pantries. We have 2 pantries. Our pantries are in partnership with Kroger. And that corporation supports us with making us look good and being a shopping style pantry. Most pantries on the Kennesaw campus are shelf stable. Because of that partnership, we're able to do frozen food. And then we have an alum who does ice cream called High Road Ice Cream. It's one of the fastest growing ice creameries in the United States. And so High Road donates those ice cream items to us. Now, for all the food, beyond High Road, Kroger does not often donate our food, but they help us do different things from the behind the scenes when we ask them on a volunteer basis. So we get most of our food from our campus partners and students who do food drives, and also from different local churches and community groups. We are the first university to offer temporary housing within the confines of the university. So we have temporary apartments, 2 bedroom, 1 bath on each of our campus. And we're a 2-campus university. And that is where we can let people stay up to 14 days, but our average bed days is about 21 days. And those times is when we put students in there and let them have that time to be able to get bathed, eat, have a place to sleep, while we are working with them through case management to figure out how to better support them and help them find a job, and then find them more permanent housing. We also offer scholarships. We've been blessed for a couple of years to have a full ride scholarship, but that is not an endowed scholarship, so we can't do that every year. But when we have that opportunity, we're so excited to do that. We also have a partnership with Catholic Charities. Catholic Charities is looking for ways to expand. So Catholic Charities of Atlanta does our public benefits assistance and does those appointments over the phone with our students, faculty, and or staff. So that's our one service that we can provide to anybody on campus. And then we have our Ascend program. Our Ascend program is only 2 years old, and that program is where we recruit homeless and foster care high school students to and through KSU. So what that means is we have them come and we do a summer bridge program for the week before classes start, making sure their things are together, helping them do the application process. So we start that process of talking to those students in December. So that way we can help them through the entire application process, make sure they get their scholarship applications in, make sure their FAFSA, their financial aid paperwork is correct, and then provide rental assistance and different funds that we can provide to help them transition into college. And then we also have a house that we do in that program as well. So, and then our other forward-facing program is emergency assistance. So clearly you can see what we provide: temporary housing, textbook, childcare expenses, access to technology, rent and utility, helping with ride share or routine vehicle maintenance. You know, it's always said sometimes it's the cost of 4 flat tires to keep a student from graduating from college. And most people don't realize it. Tuition, outstanding balances, and then assisted services, especially for our students with physical and hidden disabilities who may need accommodations but can't pay the fee that it costs to get the testing for those different things. So this is for any KSU student. So the other program is focused on homeless and foster care and food insecure. This is for any KSU student who needs these supports. And then we also make sure to remind them that we have our pantry, which is like a grocery store, supports any KSU student as well, and they can shop there twice every 2 weeks. So these are activities that we fundraise for. These are not supported by the university financially. I have to fundraise for those dollars. So, and then as we expand and been in this service for 10 years, we've realized that we have started something that a lot of colleges want to emulate. So this is our care roadmap. And this is where we're going to do 3 levels: an intro course, an intermediate course, and a capacity building course. So that's 1, 2, and 3, and they can pick whichever one fits for them. And so we're rolling this out and launching it really soon. And that's to help other universities learn how to implement what we've done at KSU from a holistic perspective as a campus to best serve their students. So we've been planning this. We didn't plan during COVID, but we did it during COVID. And so we've been planning for this. And then we wanted to get through our 10-year anniversary in August. And then we're going to have our full launch on November 2021, when we do Homelessness Awareness Week. And then we're going to also, by March 22, have a goal of implementing our Sending with Care supplement. And that is to help high schoolers transition students into college, also helping colleges learn how to work with high schools, how to help those high schools transition to college. It's not the way it was 5 or 10 years ago when most of us went to school. It's very different. So what I would love to, what we're trying to do with this is use it as a way to help any student anywhere in America get the help they need if they are homeless or foster care, get to college, and it not be a hurdle, that they start on a level playing field. So one way you can help care services, if you're interested, we always take financial donations. I function like a nonprofit. It doesn't pay my salary. My salary is state funded. But every service that we do, we have to get donated. We have to donate funds to be able to fund the different things we do. So to do all the cool things we do, give over $80,000 in student direct support last year was because of the kindness of donors. We also have adoption drives and donation drives for those who want to give in more intentional ways. And so we use Amazon wish lists, and then we do peanut butter and jelly drives, or we do a cereal run drive. We do different drives that way. Also, if there's a corporate donor on campus on this call, we're looking for corporate partners and volunteers. We've had Cisco Group, Kroger, Salesforce, different groups like that have volunteered with us and have volunteer days. Fifth Third Bank is one of our great volunteers for multiple years, and we've had whole Fifth Third Day volunteer opportunities. And then also we do campus referrals, and that's for our Care Roadmap program. So if you know of a college somewhere out there who could possibly benefit or is interested in doing what we do, refer them to us. We would love to sign them up for our program and get them started with us and teach them what we've learned over the past 10 years of service. So we made sure to put a QR code out there just to make sure everybody could see how to connect with us and work with us. But also we want to share our information because we want to make sure, like I said, we're consistently helping the over 2,500 students that we have served at KSU. But we would love to expand that and also serve more students elsewhere. So I'm gonna turn it back to you, see if anybody has any questions.
Fantastic, Marcy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to learn more about it. And we're gonna line up some questions here in a minute, but I want to introduce the folks that we have on the recording. So in addition to our speaker, Marcy Stidum, we also have from Kennesaw State University, Danielle Fox. Danielle, feel free to wave on that. A supporter and on the advisory board of KSU Cares and friend of the E-Club of Silicon Valley, Chanel Reed. Chanel, good to have you. And we'll get another introduction here in a minute, but we'll start the questions this way. How did this all get going, right? I mean, so there are programs that are out there to help people in different ways, but it sounds like you've brought a number of these pieces together in a particularly effective way, or at least from my reading, that's what it seems. So what was the piece that put everything in motion?
So I think the biggest piece was I have a background as a social worker. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I was running our campus, created and running our campus case management program in our counseling center. And so I was doing a lot of support to students who were experiencing high risk behaviors or suicidal thoughts, eating disorders. So they started seeing how a social worker could impact a campus. And then we had our first homeless student after I'd been here a year at KSU. And that's what started, Penelope. She started it, and it was the most complicated case we had, even to this day, because she had lost her family, had no money, was sleeping on the campus grounds, owed the university money, didn't have a job. So it was all the things in one. And that's where it started. And then we already had a pantry on campus. So after about 4 or 5 years, that pantry came under care. And then Homelessness Awareness Week, that is actually, we're in our 14th year of that. That was already happening. So that came on to under care as well. And we've just slowly just built different things to make sure we were the single point of contact for poverty and low income needs on campus.
So, when I hear the story of Penelope, for me, that's where a lot of support goes from kind of the head to the heart, that sense that, okay, now I get it, right? Like this is the kind of situation people are facing, things like that. Can you tell us another story or two about some of the people who've been part of the program, who've benefited from the program?
Yeah, I have an alum right now. He is in the executive leadership program with Caterpillar, and he's getting ready to level up where he can run his own factory, which is so cool. But when we met him, he was a senior, a rising senior at KSU and sleeping in his car, but with a 3.95 mechanical engineering GPA. He was amazing and still is amazing. But to see how he can maintain that GPA, but maybe not knew where he was going to eat, sleep, bathe, or anything like that. So we scooped him up and he stayed in our temporary apartments for about 4 weeks. During that time, we were able to find him a campus job. We were also able to we had enough donations at that time where we could pay for him to get moved into a campus apartment. And so we try to do up to 90 days. And so for him, we did about 90 days. And that 90 days gave him the breath to breathe, to be able to put checks in his pocket, save up some money. And then he started paying his own rent. And then, we were able to go ahead and purchase him a meal plan. So that right there, when you put it together, that's probably less than, for one semester's meal plan, 90 days of rent, that's less than $2,500. But that investment in his future allowed him to become who he is today. Sadly, when they do graduate, as he did, they can return back to homelessness if they don't have an immediate job. So because of him, we were able to work with a local corporation, and they found him this opportunity with Caterpillar and got him different interviews. And then we found a community member who was willing to let him just stay at their house for a while. And then after about 6 months, he was able to relaunch, and that's where he ended up. So those are the kind of stories between that, victims of domestic violence, because people forget that throws you into homelessness too. That counts. When we get to help people who have dealt with parental death, family violence, domestic violence, generational poverty. Those are the students that we serve and help and support on a daily basis.
Wow. So Chanel sends a great question in through the chat. Please tell us about Homelessness Awareness Week and how it started.
Yeah, so Dr. Lana Washniak started that program about 14 years ago. It is a week long of a million different activities that we do, it feels like. But it's a partnership that kicks off on World Hunger Day around October 12th. And that's when we start doing our donation drive. And so we pretty much do like a 3-week donation drive. And the reason why we don't start at the beginning, one, it's convenient to do it on World Hunger Day. There's that. And then two, we got to get past homecoming because we're at college. But then we go straight into, right in the middle of homecoming, we go right into getting the food drive. And so athletics, so our football team, our volleyball team, our soccer team are all collecting food, are going to start collecting food for us. Also, our campus departments, administrators, staff, students, they're collecting food. And so we'll come together on November the 5th and do a service day where we sort all the food and we divide the food up between the 2 pantries. But in addition to that, starting on November the 1st, we kick off with different events. We have a Coke reverse vending machine opportunity where if you have a reverse vending machine, you take the Coke bottles or any product that has a QR code on it, slide it in, it recycles it. So that's a sustainable moment because I'm very focused on sustainability. But for every bottle recycled, a nickel comes to our program. And then we do Call to Action Day where we do Care for Social Change. And we do that virtually because our event always ends up around when voting occurs. So we want to encourage people to participate in the voting process. So we do a virtual Instagram event where we just kind of like, did you know about this? Did you know about this in college homelessness? Did you know about this in homelessness across the country? Did you know this bill just passed in Georgia? We want to give out, we want to activate our students to be fight for social justice issues. And so, and we want to also encourage them, go vote. But then we do an Empty Bowls event. This is our 5th year of that. And that partnership is where we talk about food waste and we basically have our campus dining and our students make the bowls. So we make about 200 bowls and then campus dining makes a pho or chutney that's vegan. And you come in and you get that in your beautiful bowl that you self-selected. And it's a fundraiser. You pay $35 and you get a beautiful bowl, a beautiful thing of soup that would have probably cost way more than that. But it's a fundraiser, but it's also talking about how we waste about 6 billion pounds of food in this country because we don't think this orange looked pretty or had the right color or tone. And so we take food that would have been wasted and use that to make that beautiful soup. And then we also partner with United Way, Spark event. We have our students partner with them to encourage them to come up with a spark idea and a creative idea how to eradicate homelessness. And then we do our event that's been around since day one, and that's our Sleep Out. And the part of the Sleep Out is our Cobb County Homeless Vigil, where we honor those persons who are in the Cobb County community who have died in homelessness. So it's a vigil to honor them, but also a simulation to sleep out one night for everyone who sleeps out every day.
Wow, very powerful. One of the thoughts that came through the chat had to do with how people support your different programs. And you talked a little bit about that in your presentation, but in working with your different supporters and the different ideas that come through the Spark program and things like that, have you had like some really innovative things suggested where you were like, wow, we never thought of that, and you tried it out and it turned out to be quite powerful?
I would say 2 things. The Empty Bowls was one. That we're in our 5th year, and it was just one of those things like, I was like, y'all, we need to do some type of fundraiser because that was during a time where our money would run out and we couldn't support students. And I was like, I need something to rejuvenate it in the later part of the year. And that's where that came from. And it really worked out so much so that when I put out the save the date, the first question I got, can I be first in line to get my bowl? But it's a great way to support our student artists. They donate the bowl in their time, but then they can also have a side market there where we let them also sell other art items. And so one time somebody bought a set. So we do a bowl, but they said, give me the entire set. And so it warms my heart to support our students. that are artisans, but then also support our students who need our help. So that is one of those ideas. And I would say Care Roadmap. It's one of those ventures that I'm very scared about, very nervous, because all these ideas, as I'm reminded, are my intellectual property. And so we're doing all these different things. And so we're taking this national, because we've had over 50 schools reach out to us in our time saying, can we help? And so we're partnering with different corporations and different groups. All the paperwork hasn't been signed, so I can't say people's names, but we're partnering with them to help us hopefully make this program affordable, maybe even one of the levels free, so that we can do the best job we can do to help these schools, help our students in the way we have. It's just, when you have, I just emailed with one of my students who graduated, and she was a Fulbright scholar, which is huge in higher ed. And she's at Johns Hopkins, getting ready to go in the lab to work on mouse kidneys. She's so excited because she wants to eradicate. But when I met her, she lived in a car with her and her husband and her dog. And they lived homeless for 3 years because it was so hard, because he has a disability and they had an animal. But we were finally able to get a donor to give them an apartment for a year so she could at least finish her last year in dignity. So I'm doing things like this for them.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, in connecting with a bunch of other schools, because I mean, I can imagine schools are like, we're not sure, exactly what the best way to use what resources we have to help our students who are dealing with homelessness issues, things like this. They're learning from your program, but is there also an avenue by which, like a lot of brainstorming happens across essentially a network of schools that are exploring cool options?
So that is it's kind of scattered, but I'm hopefully over the next couple of weeks going to have a conversation about that. Yeah. And our goal is to bring homeless, foster care, and food insecure students, folks who help those three populations together, and do have it where they have an ongoing dialogue. So we would hope that this and other partnerships that I'm trying to develop around our care roadmap, that we can all come together as collaborators and create that space. I think it happens in a scattered way, but it needs to happen in an ongoing, intentional way, but also recognizing that homelessness, foster care, and food insecure, especially on a college campus and K through 12, parallel each other and cross over. So might as well bring everybody into one place together and have that conversation together, because somebody might be doing pantry in one place and can and working on food insecurity, but could level up and do more on this other space that impacts homelessness, or vice versa. So yes, that is a goal, and that's one of our goals.
All right. And through the chat, a question about how many students have been served. Like can you give some data points on this as well? I'm sure you can.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've served about 2,500 students since our inception, and that's a unique number. So that's not saying what students we've served and how many times we've served them. That's just saying that's who we've served at a unique number. And we're working with those students because we'll focus on that number, because we want to make sure that how we're impacting them, how much services do they receive, right, how many different things do they participate in, how many times have they gone to the pantry, and different things like that. So, and then the other different areas that we've done, of those 2,500, 600 students are served in our case management. Of that 2,500, 1,900 are just in the pantry alone. So that shows you how many. But we've distributed over, since our inception, nearly $300,000 to our students. So in 10 years, we were doing very little. Now last year was COVID, so it's a lot. But nearly $300,000 distributed in direct donated dollars to our students. Housed about 44 students in our temporary apartments. And then just this year alone, remember that this year means August. We've done since August for our students, but we will encapsulate it for the fiscal year. July 1, we've done almost $71,000 in direct supports to students. So I tell donors who donate to us, your money will not sit idle. It's going to go somewhere. And I think the donors who have been with us for years keep coming back, because what one just told me is that they want to do more because they see what we do and how we serve our students. One donor gave enough this year to pay for one student's full rent on campus. And so that's what people are giving to. They're not giving to parties, or I do empty bowls. I do foster awareness with care. Those are my only two fundraising events. Everything else is service, service, service. And Homelessness Awareness Week usually costs, I've got it down to less than $100 for all of those events that I named. Because any dollars we raise, like with that United Way event, they're winning, nonprofit will win dollars from United Way, but the students who help them, I'm going to try to make sure that they get $2,500 for that group, that student group. And so it's about 2 people to a group. So two students splitting $2,500 is pretty massive and eye-opening for them. So, but I want to tell them that I'm proud of them for helping these nonprofits come up with their spark ideas. So I try to keep my operation lean and mean so every dollar can go back to the students.
All right. Well, a last question before we finish up the recording, but as we like to do, we'll keep talking with our speakers after we press stop on the recording, because we get the chance to. That's one of the fun things about being part of these live recordings. And to give reference, by the way, to her comment a minute ago about the amount of money done so far, we're recording this on October the 1st. And so if you happen to be watching this later in the year and you're trying to get a bit of a grip on that number, then we're talking just a few months. So last question from Chanel. How can interested parties support care in the future? And one specific question that kind of comes to mind for me is what if service clubs like Rotary clubs or Lions, Kiwanis, Optimists, clubs like that want to get involved?
Well, as a college member of Rotary, I have a secretary and I think vice chair at one time, but I have a special place in my heart for Rotary. So what our local Rotaries do, I'm surrounded by 5, so that's really cool in our area. So they have done things like food drives. They have done some volunteering at our houses. We have a courtyard, and even though we have a maintenance, I like, our students who stay in our 2 houses on our Marietta campus, that's their home. They don't go, there's no vacation, there's no leaving. So we want to make the courtyard special. So we would love to hang twinkle lights and different things like that. So we're looking for people to donate those different things and potted plants and stuff. So we have one student who keeps a garden in her room. And so it'd be nice to have that potted plant, and so she can take those skills outside. So that's how you can physically get involved. You can help us with move-in day. But if you can't come to Georgia, like I said, you can go to our website, care.kennesaw.edu, click the picture that says help care or help our students. And what you would do is you'll go there and you'll see all the different ways you could, if you have a Kroger card, you can take your Kroger card and connect it to us, and we get money back for that once a quarter. You can go on our Amazon wish list and adopt a student. And then you can help us donate food. And how you donate food, you can go on our other Amazon wish list and see what our current food needs are. We always need beverages. We always need gluten-free, vegan items. That is very important. I am trying to make sure we don't further our students into issues with diabetes by being only a shelf-stable pantry. Right. So that's why we have frozen food and different things of that nature in there, so they can have. And then we're working to grow toward produce because I want to make sure they have access to fresh food. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it, virtually and in person.
Wonderful. So we're about out of time for the recording, so I'll wind things down before handing it back to Marcy for the final word. Then we'll talk some more with the group that we have here. And for all of you Rotarians who are visiting and watching this program as a part of taking in our meeting for the particular week that the program anchors the meeting, by all means, let us know you were here. There is an attendance form just a little bit farther down the page. And then a little farther still, you'll find our forum, the discuss section. And we'd love for you to just tell what you think, what questions come to mind, what kind of ideas did this prompt for you, both through the program and through any of the other meeting content that you've had the chance to see. So with that, I will hand it back to our speaker for the final word, Marcy.
Yeah, one thing I want to say is just make sure you remember that all students don't start from the same playing field. Everybody needs a hand up, but once you give them that hand up, it's beautiful to watch them launch. So if you want to do that through us, please join us and support us again at care.kennesaw.edu and help our students in any way that's meaningful to you. Every dollar, every can of tuna counts, because any way you give to us, I can better take care of the students that we love and support. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Marcy. And for all of you watching this, we will see you next week.